Hey, welcome to the space where we are live on the intersection of the people and the power. The podcast where we discuss current political events and topics about Chicago. Except the twist is, the discussions are held between myself, a young person, and my guest, who's a person in a position of power. I'm your host, Caitlin Savato. Let's get started with the show. Today's topic is the impact of Black journalism and why it is important to motivate and empower students to capture in detail the strength and power of their communities. Today is a very special episode as we are featuring one of Julian High School's very own. We will be discussing how Julian impacts its students and how we can continue to inspire students as Julian celebrates its 50th year anniversary. Our guest for today is Ms. Kathy Cheney. Kathy is the former Vice President Print of the National Association of Black Journalists. She is a newsroom veteran with more than 2 decades of experience. Kathy is a passionate advocate for Black press and newsroom diversity. Previously, she served as the executive editor for YR Media. Before that, she was the deputy managing editor for breaking news and staff development at the Chicago Sun-Times, managing editor for EBONY magazine, and managing editor at the Chicago Defender. And most important, Miss Kathy is the graduate of Julian High School's class of 91. Before we get into the show, I do like to let my guests kind of introduce who they are, what they do, and how you're feeling today.
Thank you all for having me. This is like a coming home moment with you.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Julian, class of 91, the best class, recruited by Dr. Oliver and his administration at that time. And I'm feeling wonderful to be back here because I'm a product of a radio TV program and also the newspaper staff. And I'm happy and thrilled.
Yes, it's definitely full circle. The last time we kind of had a conversation, I think, was a full conversation was my 8th grade year when we collaborated together. Let's just talk about it. What do you think is the importance of collaborating and working with young people and ensuring that your talent and your gift is kind of passed on to the next generation?
For me, it's pretty simple. It's eventually I have to retire.
Mm-hmm.
We all do. So we want to make sure that whatever industries that we're in, we're leaving them in good hands. And the best way to do that is to help mentor and mold and, shape the next leaders in our profession. And also give back, pay it forward. I had plenty of mentors when I was younger, and I see it fitting to be no other way that I do the same and like to lift as I climb, especially for people who look like me. So like coming back here, and my last name was Payton back then, Peyton, Kathy Payton.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just important to give back.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to do your part. You want to make sure that everything is moving forward. But the younger generations are the future, And I knew how that felt when I was part of the young generation then. So I can't do anything else but help the young generation. And I have 2 daughters. They're in their early 20s. I'm hoping that, people in my age range are doing it for them too, and did do it for them in high school.
And it's really easy to get discouraged, I think, in these times. What is your propeller? What keeps you fueled in working with young people? Because I think that the media does a really good job at portraying us as one way and kind of creating a sense of division between younger generations and older generations.
Absolutely. And being part of the media, sometimes we get on our nerves too, with what we see. But I try to make sure that I'm doing my part. And I think it's just staying connected, keeping that communication going, and then just remembering where you came from. That, you probably did have some haters in your ear. You probably had maybe some counselors who were discouraging you. I do remember a couple of people when I was in high school, not at Julian though. I'm a journalist. And the one thing that they told me was, don't major in journalism. I know you want to be a journalist, but don't major in journalism. Major in English or anything else, it'll come. And I was sitting to myself at that time, I'm like, that is the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. I want to be a journalist, but you're telling me not to major in journalism. How am I going to get that foundation, the basics or whatever? So I was just like, okay, looking at them like, you must be crazy telling me this. And how dare you tell me not to follow my dreams? And you know how passionate I am. So I make sure that I tell people, number one, follow your dreams, but do your research too, and then get connected with different groups of like-minded people,
Mm-hmm.
kids and adults who are in that profession or want to be in that profession, because then that kind of motivates you too as well. It's like it's a contagious feeling where it's just like, oh, you're feeding off of each other and you get more encouraged.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the importance of having people who look like us be in those journalism spaces, especially today when we're at times of like polarization and where media can say one thing that's not true? Like, what do you think is the importance of representation in the newsroom?
Oh my goodness. It's an everyday fight and I still fight it.
Really?
And because I'm so far into my career where it's like I don't have that fear that I probably had when I was maybe 1 or 2 years up into it, where you be scared to speak up or whatever. I'm so unapologetically Black,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm always advocating for Black stories, Black people in newsrooms, diversity. So it's like when people hire me, they already know what they're getting.
Mm-hmm.
But it's critical. I kind of liken it to even like a career day at a school, and it brings me back to a time when I was speaking at a career day in Inglewood, and this was probably like maybe 15 years ago. And I walk in there, and Inglewood is a predominantly Black neighborhood. So, of course, the school, all full of Black kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like the only Black professional on the whole career day thing. And I was sitting
Wow.
there like, what is happening? They
Mm-hmm.
had an interior designer, they had a doctor, they had an attorney, they had an accountant, all of this. And I was just like, we in all these fields too.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like really, really pissed off. Trying to be diplomatic with my words, but I was really pissed off because I was just like, this don't even look right. So when it was over, I did speak to the organizers of the career fair before I walked out of the building. And I'm like, how dare you? And I said it in a nice way, but how dare you have a career day at a school full of Black kids and I'm the only Black professional here? I said, people need to see what they can be.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, if they don't see that, they probably don't think, oh, well, there aren't any Black physicians,
Mm-hmm.
there or whatever. And they were like, oh, I didn't think about that. I'm so sorry. We'll do better. I was like, yeah, do better. I was just like, first of all, who do you think you are
Mm-hmm.
to come up in here and put this together, but then bring all your friends
Mm-hmm.
and you sprinkle just me, a little speck of black pepper in this whole bowl of salt? I'm like, you did these kids an injustice. And I was really pissed off about it, but I did speak up. So it's just like it's the same in newsrooms. You get a lot of lip service, but if you don't have people in there like me and a few other people who are like, no, we need to have reporters and editors who look like the communities that we're covering.
Mm-hmm.
Every community isn't Black, but we do have some Hispanic communities. So you do need some Hispanic reporters. You need some Hispanic Spanish-speaking reporters. You do need some Asian reporters. You need that mix, but you need that diversity. And if you don't have that, then you're doing your community a disservice.
Exactly. And I think, especially at a time where diversity, equity, and inclusion is such a buzzword topic, what do you think the impact is going to be of certain restrictions or pullbacks that we're seeing from the Trump administration as far as journalism?
Oh, as far as journalism, so we actually have started to see and feel the impact maybe dating back almost 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
because some positions, like in some newsrooms where we had like specialized beat, like you've had some newsrooms created like the race beat. Some newsrooms created positions like, the managing editor for diversity and things like that. So close to 2 years ago, you started seeing those being phased out, those positions. And then you started seeing some of those beats absorbed into other beats. And it was a way for people to be like, oh, we've come so far. We
Mm-hmm.
haven't really had anything too much like a George Floyd that's happened since then. So do we really need to focus on that and make sure that we're still covering that when it can be absorbed in just about every beat? So we've started to see all of that happen. And once you see that, you know that funding is coming too. So newsrooms are shrinking because if you're cutting out a beat, sometimes you have to apply for your job again
Mm-hmm.
to go somewhere else. Or if they're just phasing out and eliminating a position, that's a layoff.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been seeing that happen more and more. And then the funding that different organizations have been getting, for diversity programs, They've been phasing those out for the same reason over the last 2 years because now I think they were gearing up and knowing that this would be happening. Then you started seeing last year on college campuses, the so-called diversity hires, the professors, they're getting threatened with their jobs and, oh, you can't say diversity. You can't use it. If your position has the name diversity in it, you've got to go. So it's been slowly happening. So now it's just the realization of now it's in your face. Now it's bold. Now it's, so yeah, we're yanking it. What you going to do about it? You know, but it's already been happening over the last 2 years.
And do you think, just someone who's been in the newsroom, do you feel like there's been like a certain censorship on press or like what people can see? I think that's been a little bit more popular in the last like 2 weeks. Americans saying that there's certain things that are going on globally that we're not seeing because our algorithms are now controlled by billionaires who are in support of Trump.
I'm not on social media that much anymore because I'm sitting there like, how is this popping up on my stuff? I don't even follow these people. It's no fun for me. And I have to stay on it because I'm a journalist, because I have to monitor stuff. My staff, I want to make sure that, they're putting up stuff and going according to the guidelines and remaining professional. But this algorithm, I don't even know. I don't even really know how to answer the question because I don't know what the hell is going on. But something's going on, and I don't like it because it's not fun to just scroll through your X timeline anymore, because you be sitting there like, who is this?
And the lengths of the misinforming people, too, is so out of control that as somebody who reads or like won't just look at the headline but will click on it, it's so disorienting to know what to believe. Like today, with the news of Trump like pausing federal funding, some folks are like, oh, that affects SNAP, that affects WIC, that affects Section 8 and all these other financial programs. And then somebody else was like, well, from the White House press release, it only affects DEI programs or the Green New Deal. And I was like, how is it affecting the Green New Deal? And they didn't implement the Green New Deal. So it just
exactly
and so it's mind-boggling how misinformed not only are people becoming, but then the functions of government as well. Because we have the White House saying that this is what they're going to do or this is what we're doing, and that hasn't even been done yet.
No. And then there's also it's not going to affect, Medicaid and Social Security at all. And then what do you see about 2 hours later? Medicaid in Illinois.
Exactly. Is on pause.
So it's just like, okay, what is it? Which one is it? So now it's like you've got to find out everything that is encompassing in this halt. But what are you going to believe?
Exactly.
No clue.
And it's a scary sanctuary. I'll speak from a community organizing perspective. It's a scary place to be in because people are so reliant on social media that even as an organizer, we've kind of turned for social media to be our tool of mobilizing people, and that doesn't work at all. And it's almost I talked about it in my last podcast, and I don't want to call it lazy, but it's lazy organizing. It lacks the proficiency and honestly the honor and the legendary kind of like components of what our ancestors did.
Yeah.
And so we aren't even matching or kind of just pouring into things anymore. And it's really, really frustrating to see that. And on another note, it's really frustrating to see people's battery for moral obligations kind of just dying down. Like people don't even care no more. People don't care to care for each other or to care for the state of everything that we're going through.
Yeah, and that's the sad part where some people will say, well, people are being desensitized, we've been fighting for so long, nothing's happened, so why do we keep on going? You keep going because it's the right thing to do. But I do understand that sometimes you get so exhausted, and sometimes some people are doing it by themselves, that they do want to give up, they tire. but maybe they need a break to just recharge. But it's still the same thing of there's just so much discouragement out there.
Absolutely.
And when you don't see or feel that the needle is being moved just a little bit, I mean, I get it, but you can't give up. And like you say, well, the laziness part where it's our ancestors, the baby boomers, they fought like hell.
Mm-hmm.
Some died. They didn't give up no matter what. So it's just like you say, you got to channel that.
Mm-hmm.
Some traditional things are good to still practice because it lets you know you are in it to win it. And you may not win every fight, but, you've got to keep fighting because you have to show the next generation after you, you got to pick up this baton, So I applaud you because you have been continuing to run. So thank you. I truly do want to thank you for that.
What kind of kept you motivated as a young person, or what kind of instilled that passion of wanting to be centered in your community and doing things for your people?
I think it was just something that I was born to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just something in me. I knew it when I was around 7 or 8 that I wanted to be a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it was just, again, I think I was born to do it. And also just my family, we were a family of social service people. Like we had foster children,
Mm-hmm.
had nurses and doctors in my family, first responders on both sides. So it was teachers. So it was just one of those, we've all given back to our communities in these different ways in our different professions. And I didn't want to go down their career paths.
Mm-hmm.
Journalism, like I said, chose me. And I think I'm still doing the same thing of giving back to my community, of chronicling just the plight of everything within the Black community and just making sure that, sometimes these under-resourced and underutilized voices are heard. It's my way of giving back.
And I applaud you and really wanted to highlight that in this segment, the work that you do for Julian or just our community as a whole, because I think that a lot of alumni do give back and they do put a lot of effort to be here to show up for certain things, whether it's like you helping out with homecoming or you coming out to LSC meetings. But also I think there's a lot of alumni who don't and are kind of counterproductive in the center focal point, which is the youth and the kids.
Yeah.
And what would you say to that group of people, or what is your kind of thought process on folks who have a lot to say but don't have a lot of like action or kind of giving back mentality?
I do want to say to my fellow alumni who remain vocal,
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather see you doing something than hear what's not being done, what should be done, or what you would do. Man, stop talking and just come do it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need an announcement to do this. Even if you're donating some money, you ain't got to tell nobody. Just do it. People will find out,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just, I'm not big on lip service. It's like, just get in there and do it. And if you love your school like you say you do, come do something about it. Just come do something about it. Come visit the school. Come to a game. Come to a LSC meeting. Now, I know y'all done moved it to like in the middle of the afternoon. I can't make those no more. But get involved with the alumni committee.
Mm-hmm.
Come to those, but just support the school. Just come mentor a kid. Something.
Yes.
Just anything. There are so many ways to give back to your school. So many ways. But just don't do the lip service. Just do the work. Just do the work, especially if you care.
Mm-hmm.
If you really, really care and you don't want to see the school gone away. Like you said, we're celebrating 50 years this year.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Have so much pride. This is the best high school in the country. It
Mm-hmm.
really, really is. There's so much pride here. I bleed orange and brown. Anybody who went to Julian will just let you know how proud they are. We'll stand on the J
Mm-hmm.
anytime, and we'll fight anybody about it. So if you are willing to do all of that and you want to claim bragging rights and you want to tell people the school you went to, actually stay active,
Mm-hmm.
And even if you live out of town, when you coming home for visits, come visit the school, call up here, do something. Just be active.
What was it about Julian, aside from other schools, that kept you here and when you left here kind of kept you coming back here?
I enjoyed all 4 years of school. It was fun for me. Julian was cool as hell. There was no other school that I wanted to go to, and I don't even live in the district. I was recruited. There was a program called the 2x4 Honors Program, and most of the kids in that program that came in 1987, which would have been the class of 91, we were recruited to come here. So it was cool to be smart. It was cool to be the nerd. We were the honor students, but it was cool because Julian, no one cared if you were smart or a nerd. We had thugs going here. They came to school though. Every school has truancy issues, but they didn't want to miss school. They may not have gone to every single class while they were here each day, but they were here each day. We had programs. We had auto shop. We had wood shop. We had cosmetology. We had every single thing. This school was full all day, every day. But it was fun to go to. It was fun to be involved in every single thing. It was a family. Now, sometimes there were fights within the school, but somebody from another school come up here, we band together. It was a fun time to be around. Our sports teams were great. Radio, TV, of course, was great. The newspaper, Soul Searcher, it was great. It was fun. It was just fun. We stood on business, on academics, and sports and everything else. It was just a fun time to be here, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I really, really wouldn't trade it for anything. And I think that that's what keeps the active alumni that's here is that they're like, no, we know what Julian was. We know what it gave us. We want to continue and hopefully, inspire the current students to do the same and give back when they, get older.
And I think one of the other factors or components that people don't think about is it's not just Julian that has had a slow decline of that fun and that wholesome school experience. It's other neighborhood schools. It's Finger, it's Morgan Park, it's Kenwood. Even though schools like Morgan Park or Kenwood or Hyde Park are supported in ways that we aren't anymore, it's still the same city with the same issues in the same buildings.
Absolutely.
I think that we haven't had the same support or infrastructure as you all did, but I can look back and be reflective and graceful of the systems that we exist in, and I can definitely say that Julian has gifted me with so much more than I can really describe. I think that I came in with with a different perspective than how I'm leaving. And I came in and I don't think I had the relationships and the understanding and the compassion and the grace and the patience that I did as I do now. But the amount of people and just adults and experiences that I've had while going to school here has been really special and really unique, and has left me very, very prepared as far as where I want to go,
Awesome.
where I want to go with my life. And I can definitely say that either spiritually or mentally, I think that Julian has definitely done a lot for me and how I've developed as a person.
That is so wonderful to hear. It really, really is. And see, that is the ending to this, because Julian is continuing to do his job. The people here who are pouring into all the students, if you're having that feeling, that's wonderful to hear. Oh,
and I think that we don't hear that sometimes. And it's easy to point out the things that we don't like or that don't work. And it's even harder to say, no, this place has done a lot for me, and it has really opened my eyes and opened doors for me to be able to do what I love and to be able to kind of pass on that love and that grace on to other people. Absolutely.
That is awesome.
Miss Kathy, thank you so much for joining me today and discussing the future of our country, the future of journalism. I really do appreciate your perspective and your wisdom overall, but we really do appreciate when alumni come back and are able to share and give and kind of hold space with us. Make sure you all tune in to our next episode. And that is a wrap. I am Caitlin, and this has been Live on the Intersection of the People and the Power.